Ahoy! We have often heard that life is for the living. Yes, living with hope, happiness, a desire to derive the best from life's myriad experiences, and as my guest for today puts it, to try one more time and not give up. Celebrating this optimism and living by it is this fascinating poet, author, book blogger, and publisher from Dallas, Yecheiliyal Yasryl, or EC as she is affectionately called. EC grew up in Chicago and studied technical and professional writing at Chicago State University. She is a member of the National Society of Collegiate Scholars who delights in talking and writing about Black historical fiction, poetry, and inspirational non-fiction. EC essays the dual role of a writer-publisher and is a founder of Yecheiliyah Books and the PBS blog, wherein she publishes the works of other writers, including book reviews, blog tips for indie authors and publishers. She hosts a very popular weekly segment dedicated to promoting Black history called the Black History Fun Fact Friday. In 2020, she published her collection of poems, My Soul is a Witness, and it is a very well received work and is currently now working on a science fiction. I must tell you this, EC is a firm believer in the existence of aliens. So join in and listen to this zestful, energetic writer from Dallas. But before that, a quick update to all my viewers and subscribers. From this week, I will be putting up my conversations with these fascinating writers in two parts on successive Sundays. Why? Because given our busy schedules and the demands on our time, the videos I thought is best split up into 20 to 30 minutes each rather than the 50 to 55-minute videos that I was putting up. Hope you continue to like, share, and subscribe. Please show your support by getting in more subscribers so that we can continue this literary engagement with brilliant writers from across the world. So, without further ado, let's dive in and listen to the energetic EC. And this is so until next week, live, try one more time, and take care. Ahoy!
The virus and just how it aggressively has killed so many. Systemic racism, how that has killed us like a plague. But also the underlining, because this is one of my favorite ones too, but also I thought about Black people as the plague that America wants to extinguish. With all of the unarmed killings that's going around. So I said, you know what? What if I personify plague and make plague stand in as the symbol for Black people as the plague that America and racism wants to extinguish? So that was the beginning thoughts and processes to this poem.
It's lovely. Could I request you to read that? Is that possible?
Absolutely. Because this is one of my favorite ones too, y'all. It's one of my favorites. All right. The Black Plague. They treated them like the Black Plague. This walking pestilence ravaging the earth, walking all proud and powerful, all royalty-like and purposeful, infecting generations of people with this culture, music, dance, and cornrows. This was a virus that needed to be controlled. They could not have this thing infecting people with all this hope. COVID-19 is terrifying, but empowering the people was worse. So the powers that be raised their glasses, smiled, and solidified the oath. The first phase was avert. Strip them of their names, rape their wives, and remove their clothes. Next, shackle them together and dismantle their dignity. The vaccination was so far working. They became mammies instead of mothers, and Negroes instead of kings. But the Black plague continued to spread. It continued to influence and shift the direction of the earth. There was no restraining the wind, and out of this affliction grew the epidemic of Black excellence, building communities, gaining wealth, and reestablishing identity. The so-called powers had to take their power back. And so, They infected their neighborhoods with crack. Mass incarcerate them, Jim Crow them, redline them, school to prison pipeline them, hide their history, hide their truth, miseducate them and kill the youth. Put your knees on their necks and stick your knives in their backs. But none of it worked. It was deeper than white supremacy. It was a secret deeper than white supremacy. More in depth than the witchcraft of stolen identity. Deeper than unarmed black men bleeding on the streets. More frightening than charred bodies hanging from trees. More detailed than this apparent sickness with the truth. These people they called plagues were not plagues at all. They were prophets and healers of the earth. It was no wonder that the more they were afflicted, the more they grew. And that's that piece.
Fantastic. And it's so beautifully woven. You've woven the history as well as the current events. You've brought it out so beautifully. I think that's what makes it so relevant as well. It's contextual. In fact, that would be my next question. You grew up in Chicago and then now you're in Dallas. So in your lifetime, until I think last year, we were all under the impression that the ugly head of racism is largely more covert. But these instances, especially the movements with Black Lives Matter, has brought it to the forefront again. The debate rages on, and I think there was a president who was guilty of fanning these kind of things all more. What do you think? Has it come down? Has it abated in some way? And this was just one of unfortunate incidents, or is it a lingering segregation that is actively done all the time?
It is absolutely still lingering. I definitely think it is still alive and well. It's in America's roots. It's in Dr. Carter G. Woodson said that when you control a man's way of thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him to go to the back door because he's going to go without being told. And if there is no back door, he's going to carve one out for his special benefit. Why? Because his education makes it necessary. So yes, the ending of chattel slavery ended, but then there was black codes and Jim Crow and 100 years of lynching and segregation and police brutality and so forth and so on. So this whole thing, the racism and stuff, it's ingrained in America. It's America's roots. And one of the things that I hope that my writing will do is to encourage people to educate themselves encourage black people to educate themselves about who they are, about who we are, so that we can know where we're going. And so that we can start to seek out and to understand things beyond the classroom. There's so many lies that are told. There's so many untruths. And there's so much we don't know. And so when you don't know who you are, then you don't know where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going, then even opportunities look like a destination because you don't have a specific purpose. So in my experience, just growing up in Chicago, growing up on the south side of Chicago, I have not experienced direct racism, but I am a product of the systemic racism. I grew up in the Robert Taylor Projects on Chicago South Side. And Robert Taylor he was a black man entrepreneur. Those projects was named after him. And the interesting thing about the projects being named after him is that he was against them building it in the slums. He was against them building the projects on top of the Federal State Street slums. And he actually quit because they refused to build it somewhere else, basically. And then when he died, they named it after him. But see, one of the things about Robert Taylor is that it was a very segregated, like community. You know, you had the projects on one side of the 14-lane Dan Ryan Expressway, and then you have where most black people lived, and then you have the 5 miles downtown, you got the beautiful downtown, but just right here is poverty. They said that Robert Taylor was one of the poorest urban communities in the United States. In the United States, not in Chicago, in the United States. They were the largest public housing and they were the poorest. And so stuff like that, the Great Migration.
Right.
Black people who migrated to Chicago and ended up living in the slums because they thought that the North would be better than the South. And then the projects and just different things like that. So I think that we all, to an extent, have experienced parts of this. And I just hope that we can educate ourselves in a way to change our thinking. So we're not walking around and just unknowingly. I always feel like people have their own choices to make about their life, but I feel like you should make informed decisions. Like if you're going to do something, great, do it. But know why you're doing it. If you're going to be who you are, know why you're that person, so. But to answer your question, yeah, Grace. Yes.
It is. And it's high time, it's obliterated. It's really high time.
Yes, absolutely.
There are some very interesting things that you're doing. I think two of them being, one is the PBS blog where you publish the works of other writers, and this is I think in keeping with your interest in Black fiction and Black history, you speak about Fun Fact Friday to promote Black history. What do you think about that?
Yes, absolutely. So this started in 2015.
Right.
It was only supposed to be like a week-long segment that I wanted to do for Black History Month. But then I thought about it and I said, you don't have to just celebrate Black history during February. It's a 365-day thing. I am Black history, right? So then I decided, instead of just having it for this particular time, let's do it every Friday. And it started off very simple. I was doing, reviewing Black movies and stuff like that, and then I moved the movies to its own segment. And then as I started researching throughout the week, and because it helped me to learn more about my history, and just the whole thing behind Black History Fun Fact Friday is to present little known facts about the Black experience. Mm-hmm. So even if I talk about February is coming up, I'm gonna tell you who you're gonna hear about in the mainstream media. You're gonna hear about Martin Luther King Jr. You're gonna hear about Rosa Parks. You're gonna hear about Frederick Douglass.
Absolutely.
Great, but that is so well known. There are so many other people out there that we don't know anything about or we know little about. So Black History Fun Fact Friday's purpose is to educate people on Black history, but not only Black history, but the little known facts. So if you're going to talk about Martin Luther King, talk about him from the perspective of something that people don't know a lot about. So for instance, do you know that his brother, A.D. King, drowned 15 months after him? And that
right.
It didn't get a lot of attention because it happened around the same time as the moon landing.
Okay.
So while they over there walking on the moon, he dead, right? So just little stuff like that, or how children's books, because I remember thinking this when I was a kid, children's books present Rosa Parks as this, I thought she was just some feeble old woman. Rosa Parks was 42 years old in 1955. She was not old. Her feet were not tired. That's not the story behind why she did what she did. This thing had been planned for months. So Black History Fun Fact Friday hopes to bring out stuff like that. Even if we're gonna talk about known people, let's talk about it from an angle we haven't seen before. So now what I'm doing is I would like to get other writers, Black writers, to contribute articles to Black History Fun Fact Friday. So then that way it's not just my research, it's not just me. I'm not I'm not an island. There are other scholars, other researchers, well, I'm still not a scholar, but scholars and historians and researchers who can come in and can contribute so that we can expand this uh, opportunity, basically, of education.
That's lovely. So, how has the reception been? I mean, have you got a lot of support and have you got a lot of contributions so far?
I've got some contributions. I definitely would need more, but what I want to do is start promoting it more because it was just like a thought. I think it might have been last year, 2019, where I felt like, well, let me have other writers coming in. But I haven't honestly been promoting it as much as I need to. So what I would like to do this year is to do more inviting people to come in. But we've had some wonderful writers to come forward. I think we've had about maybe 5 guest articles. So at least 5 of those Black History Fun Fact Fridays are not written by me, and that's what I want. Like I don't want all of them to be written by me. I want it to be like eventually like an anthology of Black history.
Right, that's lovely. So, what has been the most memorable or the most exciting compliment that you've received so far for your Fun Fact Friday?
Oh wow, the most exciting compliment. I have to think about that. I think the most exciting compliment hasn't been a compliment verbally. I think the most exciting thing is just getting people who want to be part of the series.
Right.
Getting people who want to, because there's been so many comments and so many wonderful people, and just, okay, 2 things. People wanting to participate in the series, people stepping up because it shows that this has value. It is something people want to be a part of. And also, an exciting thing has been how the series has affected people who are not actually Black, who are not so-called African American, who are not, but just nationwide. That has been the most exciting. Just having people come on like, wow, like I didn't know this, and like please keep it going, and just little things like that is very exciting because it means that it's reaching.
That's lovely. You seem to be having the best of both worlds kind of a scenario because you're also into publishing, right? So, what do you look out for when you're picking up pieces for publishing? What is that one thing that you specifically look out for?
That one specific thing, authenticity, I would say. Not originality necessarily. And the reason why I separate the two is that no story is unique. They've all been told before. Boy meets girl, even the women with blue eyes and the aliens and all. It's all been said before, but every person is unique. No one is you. So I'm looking for the you in whatever it is. Like if I'm selecting something for the Black History Fun Fact Fridays, or if I'm selecting something for the poetry contest, because I host an annual poetry contest too. I'm looking for the you in it. It's so easy in the age of social media to do something because everybody else is doing it and it seems popular. It's so easy to take on, like I said before, if you don't know where you're going, everything looks like an opportunity. You're just out there snatching up everything and just trying to do so many different things. But and everything that you're doing, what is you? I'm looking for the you in it. I'm looking for your voice, your experiences, your take on this. Like, okay, this has been done before a million times, but how would you take it? What next level would you take it from? Like, how would you think outside the box? And that's the authenticity that I would say I mostly look for. Like, I want to see the you in it. Even if I'm picking out books I want to read for myself, or authors of support and stuff like that, it's like, I want the real you. Like, don't just be doing this because you just want to do it. Like, so that's what it is.
Yeah, that's true. Oddly enough, or rather ironically enough, in this age where we are hankering after individualism, I don't think people are really individualistic. They are looking so much for social acceptance that they end up trying to be like someone, emulating some other style, trying very hard not to be themselves. So what you're looking out for, the original you, the authenticity is so very crucial.
Absolutely. And it's so easy to do in the age of social media. I'm not going to sit here and act like I haven't fallen into the trap. It's so easy to fall into the trap. You know, they say you should post every day, so post every day. Just little things like that. Like, no, be in alignment with your purpose and with who you are, and let that naturally, your people go, that's gonna naturally come out, and that's so key with us as writers, because that targeted audience is attracted to your natural self. So you don't want to be out here fake and attract the wrong audience. So when you're yourself, that energy sends itself out, and your tribe come to you.
True. So what are you reading currently, and what would you recommend that we read?
Oh wow, I'm actually reading currently. It's kind of older because I haven't. I think he released this. I'm reading Tanasi Coates' "We Were 8 Years in Power."
Ah, okay.
And it's like a collection of like essays that is basically exploring the politics and racism and democracy during the Obama years and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm reading that, and I'm also reading a few indie books too. I try to keep at least. I try to read at least one indie book and one traditional book. And because I do book reviews, I have to make sure that I don't overdo it on my to be read list. But I'm reading what's that? Malice and Forethought by Felicia Denise. I'm reading. I just picked up another one by this indie author, but I try to keep a couple indie author books with me and a couple traditional books, a couple classics. And most of the books that I recommend is, I actually had just put a list on my Instagram, but going along the same lines of Black history, I recommend First Class, the history of the first Black public high school. I recommend From Babylon to Timbuktu, talking about the Black races of civilization, including the Black Hebrews. I recommend The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. And also, I like to mix it up. Some independent authors, indie published books, definitely, like I said, I try to keep some traditional, some classics, and some indies.
Right, and it's so crucial to support the indie writers.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And like people don't understand, like, independent is independent for a reason. Like, we don't have the same platform as great mainstream and stuff like that. So your reviews and your reading and your recommendations and your following, all of that helps us to get our work out here and show that independent artists, whether that's an independent author or journalist or newscaster or podcaster, that we are a force. And we together help each other to put the work out there. So it's not even just a matter of being optional for me to make sure that I support independent artists, but I feel like it's a necessity, like it's a requirement. It's just something that I must do. If I'm an independent artist, I have to support other independent artists.
Fair enough. So what's been the best compliment so far to your writing? Something that really, really touched you?
You know what? I actually have one here on the wall.
Right.
Because what I do is I like to print out some of my book covers and some of my reviews. And the one that really stuck to me, that really just like touched my heart in so many ways, is I have a Black historical fiction series called the Stellar Trilogy. And one of the books in that trilogy is called Beyond the Colors Line. And it is about how it's basically passing, exploring Black people who are light enough to pass as white and who did that, and exploring identity and confidence and pride in in who you are and stuff like that. So one reader, she said, okay, so I'm reading it, so I'm looking up.
Right,
She
right.
said, move over, huh?
Sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh. She said, move over to Kill a Mockingbird. The next best thing is here. So that's how she started off. So that by itself was like, whoa.
That's
Okay,
lovely.
okay. And
That's
so
lovely.
it says, if I had the power, I would put this book in the hands of every middle school child in America and let them truly understand what it means to be beyond the colored line. The thing is, the literary classics such as To Kill a Mockingbird and Huck Finn definitely bring up the issues of race, but they are incredibly separated from how it is portrayed in today's world.
Absolutely. I totally
That's
agree
about
with that.
shout out to Anna Cox. That's by Anna Cox.
Lovely. I totally agree with that. In fact, it brings to our mind the way Jane Eyre, the Victorian novel that happened, and then Jean Reese's talk back to that. That's a brilliant thing. White as you see. I think that gave Bertha Mason such a unique, distinct identity as a proper human being, rather than some wild beast as she was portrayed in
Right.
the Victorian classic. So,
Right.
yeah, these words actually brought that back to my mind.
Yep. Yep.
Right. So now, any special message to the viewers of the Writer Talks?
Special message to the viewers of the Writers Talk. Hi, viewers. I would say keep writing. Um, keep moving. Being a writer is not easy, as we all know. Um, but I read something earlier today that says that a winner is a loser who tried one more time. So I guess my last message would be similar to the message that is pinned to my Twitter profile, and that is always try one more time. If it gets hard and you feel like quitting, just try one more time. And it sounds simple, but if you think about it, let's say you down in the dumps, right? Let's just say you like, I ain't doing it, not doing it, hate it, I quit. Let's just say you think like that. But I'm gonna try one more time. I'm just gonna try one more time. So it's something that can just like you can easily motivate yourself. It's self motivating because it's so hard sometimes. But then you just let me just try one more time. It can't hurt. Just one more time. I'm just gonna do it one more time. You know how when people have addictions and they say I'm just gonna do it one more time. You're not gonna do it just one more time. No, you're not. You're addicted. So so for writing, if you're addicted to writing, take the same thing. I'm just gonna try it one more time. That book sucked. I'm gonna try it one more time. I'm gonna write another one. That piece didn't get the response I wanted to, but that's okay. I'm gonna try it one more time. So that would be my advice to the viewers. And even if you're not a writer, you can be a dancer, a painter, or whatever it is that you're doing, and you're not seeing the results that you think you should see. I'm gonna try one more time. Just try one more time.
Sounds so simple, brilliant, but and it's not so easy to actually do that, and it's motivating at the same time. Right? I think some of the hardest things are simple. Right? To be simple is the hardest thing, actually.
Yeah, like it's so. That's what I guess it kind of like I guess it's kind of like our conscious, our subconscious, that kind of thing. Like it's so simple, but it's not so simple if you think about it.
Absolutely.
It's not so simple. It's writers who write for traditionally and they getting rejection after rejection, or indie authors who getting one star review, 2 star reviews, or no reviews at all on their book, and no sales, and uh, let's say somebody having relationship issues. No matter what it is, it's like just try again.
True.
But it's so simple that it's not simple.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks so much for that. Love talking to you. Love having you on the Writer Talks. We'll hope to see you soon once you're science fiction is complete, right? Once the sci-fi is complete and you're promoting that, would love to have you back with that. Right?
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Definitely
Ahoy,
enjoy myself.
and have a great day.